Hey, Steve with RV to Cycle. Today we've got a modification for the van. You may have seen one of these before. It's a SmartPlug. Let's get to it. So what's in the box? When you open up the box, you have a SmartPlug body, gaskets, install tools, screws, blah, 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 blah. It's all right here. The instructions tell you which tools you need for mounting the inlet. And on the other side of the instruction sheet, here are the tools that you need for attaching the plug to your cord. We're going to replace the female end of the cord, and to do that you have to cut it off. So suck it up.
Yeah, can't you cut it off closer to the...
I'm leaving enough just in case there's a uh-oh and I have to splice this sucker back on here. So
that'll be good. Oh yeah, why can't you put that down on the ground and cut away from your body?
I am cutting away from my body.
That's not what it looks like.
Well,
Looks like that blade is up.
the blade's going toward Alan. He's the one who needs to worry. Next, we're going to measure back 1 3/4 inches to cut this black outer sheathing off. 1 3/4 inches, and then each of the 3 interior wires we're going to cut 3/4 of an inch of the insulation off. We're going to mark 1 3/4 inches. You got to be careful when you're cutting this black sheathing not to cut through and cut the insulation, the red, black, or green wires. What I do is I just put the blade up against the sheath and roll the cord, cutting slightly as I go around. And I am slightly through, and then now what I like to do is come in here and I'm cutting just a little bit of this in a longitudinal manner. I think that's the right word, longitudinal. And I cut it right to that orange line. And now I'm just going to peel it back. And what really helps to do this is having a pair of pliers. You want to make sure that you get this the paper. So there's a paper sheathing that goes around these 3 wires. You want to make sure that comes off too. Make sure you get all of that paper. Some cords might have actually some strings in here as well, and if your cord is like that, make sure you get the strings removed. Next, we're going to cut each of these 3 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to get the wire cutters, which are also strippers, and we'll strip that. So now we have all 3 of these stripped. Next, we're gonna go look at the instructions real quick. Normally I don't do this. Kelly's standing right there. Normally this isn't the first time I put a plug on the end of a cord, but on the other end of this cord is going to be $100,000 RV, so I am going to read the instructions, plus she's there watching me the whole time. So what it says to do next is we're going to take this guy apart. Isn't that right? Y'all read it? Okay. I'm still not reading it. I actually did read this before I got started. So what we're going to do is we squeeze the two silver parts, the clips, and pull the inside out. This, has this got a name? What's it called, Al?
Pinch here.
It is a rubber cord gasket. And what the instructions tell you to do is to pinch this so you can put it inside this hole. So we're just gonna force it in there. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna take this big fat thing and we're gonna shove it in this little bitty thing. And one of the keys to making that happen is this tool. And this is called a conical install tool. The instructions tell you to slip this over the end of the cable, and we're going to use some soap, so we're going to soap this up to push it on through there. So an important note is this conical insertion tool does not cover the main exterior insulation, and it will tell you that in the instructions, but there's just one little bitty line that says that, so beware. The instructions tell you to soap up 12 inches, but because we have to shove this guy into this little bitty hole, I'm gonna only soap up 2, 3, 4 inches of the cord at a time. A piece of advice I got from Alan, our camera operator, was let somebody else soap this up for you so that you have two hands that are clean. So that's what we did. Kelly put the soap on it, and all she soaped was the conical tool. So I know this is tough because I watched James Adenaro do his for their new RV, #1 is what they call their new RV, and we may have to put some more on there. And James is a pretty stout fella. He got more muscle than I do. And as hard as it was for him, I can imagine it's not going to be too easy for Stevie. But look at that. All right. Okay, now we're going to put a little more on there. I didn't measure what 12 inches was, but we're just going to go till we go. Okay, thank you. I lost my momentum. There we go. Here it comes. It's out the other end now, isn't it? I think we probably got, oh yeah, we got more than enough soap on there.
On the SmartPlug face, there is a seal. It is a rubber seal. You have to remove that off of the face. It is on there snug. Once that is removed, you will see that there is an adhesive back to it. Do not take that off until you are putting everything back together.
When you look at the back side of the SmartPlug face, which is what I'm holding in my hand, there are 3 wire insertion points. So one is green, and that's the one, actually, if you're holding it correctly, it's the one that's at the top. And then from where I'm sitting, the one on the right is white. It's not so easy to see, but it is painted white. And then the one on the left is painted black. So a little easier to see the one that's painted black. And that matches the colors of our wires. The green is the ground, and you have a hot and a neutral, black and a white. So we have a hex screw, and we're going to loosen the hex screw on each of those 3.
Now,
so here's a tip for you. If you look at the green and the black, you can see very little aluminum in the hole. On the white one, however, when they inserted the aluminum connector, you can see that it didn't go all the way to the bottom of the plastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the hex key in the hex screw, and now I'm going to push the aluminum piece as far down as it will go so I can get the wire in there more easily. I'm not real keen on doing this all 3 at the same time, but I'm getting all kinds of advice. That's what I should do. Now I'm going to start at the top with the ground, the green one. Tighten the hex screw. Let me just tighten them up. And then you want to inspect to make sure you don't have any wires that are sticking out. So next we're going to put the cable clamp on, and you should extend according to the instructions. The cable jacket should be about 1/4 of an inch on the inside of this clamp. Now the clamp has a threaded side and a non-threaded side. So we're going to go through here down to the bottom, and this is where we're going to need that number 2 Phillips head wrench. And just going to give it a part of a turn. Insert the other screw. The trick here is you want to alternate left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right at about 1/4 of a turn each time to ensure that the clamp is going down an equal amount on each side. Yeah, you don't want to over tighten this because it is plastic and it is subject to breaking. So now we're going to put soap back on the cord, because when you pull it through the first time, it takes all the soap off. And
It should be down in
yeah, you want to get the soap down into the body as far as you can. Now what we're going to do is we're going to push all this stuff back through there, which is going to be easier said than done. So I'm going to start by pulling, and I'm going to hold the rubber gasket. Okay, so go ahead and push it all the way through
I
now,
guess,
right?
yes.
All right. So I'm continuing to,
Push and pull.
yeah, I want to make sure that I don't pull the rubber piece out of the housing. All right, I'm ready for the screws. Thank you, ma'am. So 3 screws. We just drop them in the hole, hopefully.
Do you want a magnetic screwdriver?
No, that would be too easy. There's no challenge in that. I'm just gonna get them started easily. Just a little bit on each one. And I gotta tell you, this is supposed to be a number 2 Phillips head screwdriver, and that will make a world of difference. The difference between a 1 and a 2 and a 2 and a 3 when you're trying to screw these things in. So next we're gonna put the weather seal on. The instructions say take the paper off the adhesive first. I know me, so I know if I try to do that, I'm gonna have it all stuck to places that it's not supposed to be stuck. So
And the rest of the instructions says use a blunt tool.
I
Like
am.
the end of your.
So I've taken, I've got a little gap here, and so now I'm gonna take the paper off all the way around. And now
The ends of your.
I'm gonna use the hex wrench to tamp it down. So with the gasket, what happens because of the adhesive around the gasket, it's very difficult to get the gasket all the way in without it sticking to the sides, and that's what happened to me. Then I ended up using the needle nose pliers. I pulled the gasket away from the side where it was stuck and then pushed it down, and that seems to have taken care of it. Next, we're going to replace the receptacle that's on the van. So there's 4 screws here. We're going to take all 4 of these out. Once you get all the screws out, this thing will just comes out just that quick and easily. We're going to leave this for now. So once it's out, I'm going to unscrew this back piece here. Once it's unscrewed, so this is really just a compression fitting. Once that's unscrewed, then this portion will slip. You can see it slipping off. This piece has to slide up so that you can get this guy up far enough to access the screws that are holding the wires in. So once you do that, then we're going to unscrew the 3 screws, and we'll see a black, white, and green wire as well. So what I'm doing now is I have the gasket that comes with the receiver, and just double checking to make sure that my holes align. My holes in the van align with this gasket. So I've got the screws stuck in. I've screwed a couple of them in partially, and it does. So we have good alignment here. All right, you want to make sure that when you take the old gasket off, you come around here and you're going to clean in here with some alcohol, just to make sure you got a good clean surface for the new weather gasket. Okay, so I put the screws in this gasket to help align it on the body. All right, go ahead and hold that.
That's why I moved.
All right, so
Guess what?
I've got some of them aligned. I think I have them all aligned. Well, that one I kind of missed. No, I got it. So taking the screws out now. Yep. Bingo bango. Bingo bango bongo. And the next step is we're going to put the wires in here. Oh, I've already taken this off. When this comes out of the box, this piece is screwed in. So I've already unscrewed it. You have to have it unscrewed to be able to get the wires in. Same concept here, white, black, and green is color coded. And we're going to use our Allen key again. I'm going to make sure that none of the Allen screws are protruding into the holes. And we've got that covered. The wires that are attached to this receptacle, these are solid wires. This is a little bit different. So we have the black, we have the white. The ground, in this case, is not green. It has a piece of clear insulation upon it. I'm gonna have to shove this plastic, this clear plastic, further back on here. I don't want that to be coming in contact with anything. Tighten this one up a little bit. I'm gonna tighten the black one a wee bit. Okay, now we're just gonna put a little tape on the flexible conduit, aka loom, aka whatever else you want to call it. This is just regular electrical tape. Actually, it's not really regular electrical tape. This is Super 88, I think is what it was said it was. Manufactured by 3M. It's good to -4 Fahrenheit up to 221 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's for extreme temps. And the reason I'm taping it is just for the insulation purposes, and not insulation from heat or cold, but insulation from wires touching things that they shouldn't touch. All we have to do now is put screws in. Right, so I'm screwing this through a little bit just to make sure that I'm gonna catch the hole which I need to catch. I'm gonna do the same thing with the next one. I'm gonna do opposite corner though. And again, it's kind of like when you are, and I'm screwing it through the weather stripping rather than pushing it through, because I don't want to mess up the adhesive. Finished product. That's the finished product. Now, one of the things I recommend doing when you put these screws back in, I'd put a little Loctite on there I would use blue Loctite, which is not permanent, but it gives you a good solid, don't have to worry about it grip. If you use red, that's permanent. Stay away from the red. Red, bad. Blue, good. Now we're ready to hook it up. Okay, so now here we go. Plug in. Click, click. That's it. It's all done. Should have timed it to see how long it takes. I got to tell you, it took more than a few minutes, which is what the instructions say. As I joked at the time, a few minutes, there's 60 minutes in an hour. And I think we were more than an hour. Anyway, I hope you get something out of this. Hope you found it useful. And maybe even a laugh or two along the way. I know that my helpers had a great time. If you got anything out of this, give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Look forward to seeing you again. Bye.